Okay, let's see. Hi, you guys. Okay, wait, hang on. Let me see if it's gonna start. I'm gonna be really mad. If it starts at 6:01, then it won't work. Like if it. Let's see. It's gonna take. Oh, it's coming up. Life is really a lot better. You guys have no idea. You really have no idea what it's taken to get this. It's like we had to overhaul everything. It's not even the amount of time it took. It took a lot of money, and it took a lot of troubleshooting because there's a lot of moving parts. It's been so long. It's been like 3 months since I've seen you. I'm pretty sure it's been like 3 months. And I just look younger, don't I? No, my hair all fell out. And I cut like, well, I told my husband I cut like 6 inches off, and he goes, you cut like 12 inches off of it. But I had to, because it's like getting so thin. It looks, is that one of the things of getting older besides all the other wonderful stuff like gravity? My hair's falling out. Anyway, okay, let me see who's here, you guys. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Now, Ms. Cortez, I've had like 3 beers. I don't think you can say her first name. I don't want to risk it. I would risk doing a math problem right now, but I wouldn't risk saying your name. Hi. And Shannon, and Darlene, and Ike. Oh my God. So excited. You guys have to go check out his YouTube and subscribe. It's Ike's Equine, right? It's Ike's. He didn't tell me this time. I actually did it on my own. But then I messed it up, so I didn't really do it. Let's see. And Sutton Kelly. And, yes, subscribe to Ike's Equines. But I did it before. I did good, huh? See, I was thinking I left part of it off. Let's see. And Carolyn. And is it Sony? Is it Sony? Just say yes or no. And then Samantha and Patty and Barb. Guys, I missed doing it actually. And hello from California. I can't say that name either. You guys, that's so bad. But I'll just say the last name of Moon. That'll just be your name. The last name of Moon. And let's see. Did I see Allison? And then Carolyn. And Ms. Dahlia. And Sharon. And Kate. Kate. I don't know if I can say your last name. Is it Shreenan? She's like, stop like telling everybody my name. Let me help. Delia. And it is Sony. Okay, good. And Dewana Lou. Hi, you guys. Okay, so anyway, God, so much has happened, you guys. Like, it's really crazy. Because it's been like I said, 3 months. And what I love is that I didn't, because we got a whole new dedicated line for the other people, for the Airbnb people. So I didn't have to worry about anybody on this line, right, on this internet, right? So we had to, then it's essentially another tower. And then we like rebooted everything on our whatever it is, our encoder. And then we had to like troubleshoot the internet because their internet was so slow. Like the download was really good, but the upload, which is what we need, was terrible all of a sudden. So they had their own problems. So then once we got that fixed, I knew everything was fine. So I mean, why would I check it? Yeah, I checked it the day before class. Oh shit, it's bad. So my husband had to drive that day, last Friday, because I had class on Sunday, and they're only open during the weekday. He had to drive to Irvine, and he hadn't had any sleep. He only had like 3 hours of sleep the night before. He had to drive to Irvine, and like we had to buy a new encoder. So everything was revamped. But then I did class on Sunday, and it worked fine. Every once in a while, it'll like do like a skip or something. But it's because it's YouTube. At this point, anything that happens is YouTube, and YouTube does go down. They're not. You guys are like, this is so fucking boring. Just shut up. Just let me finish. I'm almost done. But anyway, YouTube, I think for as many users as they have, it's poorly the infrastructure. Or as this guy that used to work for us would say, infant structure. Yeah, he used to say infant structure, and I just wanted to correct him so bad. But I never did. I was actually kind. No, I actually do have a difficult time not correcting people if they say a word incorrectly. I typically will correct them. But, I do it with a nice spirit. I say, okay, you're stupid, so I'm going to have to fix it for you. I don't say that. I say, I'm nice. I am nice. I just say, oh, by the way, you just said that wrong. That's what I do. I do it really nice. As nice as I can. I mean, you're telling someone. Anyway, who knows? Who cares? Okay, so I don't even know where to start. What I'm going to start with, though, is I have this new thing should I say this is Yarnitarian? God, I was trying to get better. because I'm starting a new format, and that's why I have my cowbell. It's going to be the most irritating thing you've ever heard, but I'll do it really gently. Because isn't it fitting? I even asked my husband, where's my cowbell? And then I remember I left it outside at the trailer. Anyway, oh, so what, this is my thing. Like, I'm really, this whole farming thing, you guys, this whole like hate farming thing, I don't want to be political. First of all, because I've been arrested. So like, I never want to be like in politics ever, because the first thing they do is be like, you've been arrested for assault. And I have to be like, that was true. Yes, I was. But it was pled down. It was pled down to, was it noise? Like, no, it was something like that. It was pled down to that. And in my defense, I wouldn't have gotten arrested if it wasn't for Jenny, who was too drunk and guys were molesting her. And then I got in a battle. And then that's how it all happened. And then the battle that I got in, I actually hit one of them, and they happened to be an off-duty police officer. It sounds like I'm making this shit up, but I'm not. And I was totally sober, by the way. But then I got thrown because she was drunk. And then they like threw her in the slammer for being drunk in public. She was in a bar. And I was the designated driver. And so I wasn't drinking. And anyhow, you're like, surprise, surprise. Sure, you had one beer, didn't you? I was drinking champagne at the time. But anyway, and we were with one of our racehorse trainers' wives. It was really quite humiliating to be arrested. And then, but I didn't care until they told me I was going to spend 8 months in jail. Then I cared. I was like, so what? This is no big deal. Although I hated her because it took me like afterwards $10,000 to get out of trouble. It cost a lot of money. I said, your night of partying cost me a lot of money, young lady. Yeah, Jenny and I have a lot of like, we have awesome, like, it's kind of bad because when have known someone for a really long time and you've had a lot of history, you know how this is. If you're around other people, they feel excluded. So, because you'll be like, oh my gosh, remember the time? And then the person's like, no, actually, because I wasn't there and I didn't know you 30 years ago, right? But even if you're around each other all the time, you're relating to each other. And so typically people, so we just exclude everyone. That's not true. Anyway, so, but this thing, so I've been studying this thing. I'm studying the reason why people hate farming so much. So how do you study that? Well, you just put it in. You just put it in the search engine and say, you put in things like, agriculture under assault, agricultural practices demonized, just that kind of stuff. But it's not hard because you can immediately come to the mind like Monsanto, you can GMO foods, right? And if you've ever eaten corn or grapes, you've eaten GMO foods. And so, I mean, this is like, decades. Like I want to say even like, wasn't Dolly, wasn't that like the I actually had to learn this at animal science in my animal science class. I can't remember, but I want to say it was the 70s. Maybe it was 80s. 80s maybe? No, I think it was earlier than the 80s. Actually, someone should put that in. Mr. Ginger, I'm afraid I'm gonna bump you guys off, so I don't want to do it. But what was this? I think it was like way before you thought that it could possibly, because I thought since PCR happened in 1986, that's when we started being able to replicate DNA, like to test for, like when you do crime scenes or whatever, right? Amplify DNA. So I was thinking, people really hate it and not want to use wool anymore. And, obviously the whole PETA thing, which is outrageous in itself because, I don't know if you guys remember, it was like 15 years ago, they were caught like euthanizing dogs and cats and throwing them into dumpsters. I mean, it was like, this is not this is not a fallacy. This is the reality. This is what happened. And then they made some excuse where they were overwhelmed. And so then they had to, it doesn't even matter. But, why farming is so under attack. I mean, to the point like last week, this whole thing is like that somehow having, growing broccoli or eating broccoli is racist. Like you have to have, yucca. That's the thing. It's like you can't, and okay, so like not all climates are, arguably not all climates are conducive to growing that, right? I mean, a lot of the reason that we do things is because they take, a certain type of climate and like conditions, right? But anyway, and they're easy to grow. And I mean, there's just, all kinds of reasons why we have these, plants. It's not because, it's the Europeanism. I truly don't believe that. So, anyhow, so I was reading like a lot of peer-reviewed papers on this. And basically, one of the statistics, I got to be honest with you, this is my new cause, by the way. You're like, really? Is that why you're boring us with it? Yes, that's why. Because I love agriculture and it really upsets me that it's so demonized, right? So then I was reading the USDA did a 2017 census on the demographic of farmers, and there were 3.2 million Caucasian farmers, and they're male primarily because females are the primary farmers ranchers of small ruminants. But men, Caucasian men, and I'm married to one, so I'm not at all bagging on Caucasian males, are 3.2 million as opposed to, it was 45,000 something for African American, and then the others were negligible. And then I really started thinking about this, and I started thinking about, because I wanted to get a farm loan, right? And I wanted to, because I wanted to buy this place in, it was like Modoc County, and it's, you know, cold up there and it sucks, but the property's really cheap. You can live off the grid, and it had like hay. It had enough acreage for hay, and hay was already being grown, and it was an old sheep farm. I mean, what more could you want, right? And so I would have been able to easily buy it with a farm loan. And so I called up and I started talking to the guy, and you know, it's one of these typical, like, you know, guys from like Imperial Valley, a total bureaucrat, and just like he's been in the job way too long, sounds really old. And so, you know, I told him I have 2 degrees in animal science, and I have, you know, my master's, my bachelor's, and you know, I said that I'd been working in the industry since 1992, whether it was racehorses or sheep and goats and poultry. And you know, I had to have enough income, and et cetera, et cetera. And then then he was asking me about property, and I said, well, and I said the cool thing is that, you know, it has a lot of hay. It has a lot of hay fields. And he said, so have you ever baled hay? And I said, no, but I've taken plenty of crop science classes, and my senior project actually was on pasture and range management. So, and he said, you know, well, you would have to demonstrate some ability. I'm serious. Okay, I just sort of said it anecdotally. Like, it just, like, it blew my mind. It actually did blow my mind. So then then, this is like I said, a long time ago. So I'm reading the statistics, and so what they did is, there apparently, and this was well documented because the USDA did some internal investigations, and what they would do is they would take any sort of diverse populations applications, and they would throw them away. But when so this is what was being said. So the USDA decided to do an internal investigation on their own, and they couldn't get it done because every time they would get to some place, the person would quit. Well, what does that tell you, right? This happened like for like 20 years. I mean, this was like blatant, like not reporting the results, but then blaming it on change of management, change of staff, change of et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So then, you know, knowing the way that you know, the USDA is about giving loans, just from what my experience, right? And actually, my girlfriend did the same thing, and her husband was a border patrolman, and they're just like, forget it, they gave up. But you know, if you have to have all these strict parameters, and you're someone that's worked on a farm, right? You have the experience because you've worked on it, but you probably only made like $12 to $15 an hour. So if you've only made $12 to $15 an hour, you're probably not going to qualify for the loan, right? So I was thinking about that, and then I was thinking about, you know, obviously that there was blatant, and I don't even like to use that word, but there was blatant, like, racism. Because you can't have 3.2 million of one demographic and then, you know, 45,000 of the other demographic, and then expect, like, people to like you. Because every single, and I'm not this big, you know, I've got to be honest with you, I'm very middle of the road. I'm not at all. I am like, you know, I'm a farmer, and that just tells you all there is to tell right there. And we know where we lean, right? So, but I got to tell you, like, if farmers don't come to the party and start, like, trying to make themselves more diverse, because that's part of the problem too. I mean, I don't think any, you know, certainly most white males I know feel like very picked on, right? But like, if you're not going to help, you've got to help make the demographic more diverse. And so why is that? Because diversity is good for any ecosystem, whether it's like an economic ecosystem, or certainly, I mean, you see it in the biological models all the time. Diversity is always a good thing. But if you make it very homogenous, then what's going to happen is people are not going to like you because they're not included. And the best way to make people stop hating you is to see why people have the practices they do, right? And that's not just like telling them, like, nobody wants to just have someone that's spewing shit at them, but to include them and help them benefit. And so that it becomes a community, right? It has to be. That's just the way it is. Otherwise, we're going to continue having these problems where, you know, it gets chipped away at, like, you know, Proposition 12 here in California, and it makes it very hard on poultry farmers and pig farmers. And then they do things like, you know, they make the trucking impossible, like all of the logs and the electronic, and they have to be this and they have to do that. I mean, everything that you could possibly do, you take away the water. I mean, everything that you could possibly do to farming kill it, they do. And the farmers are too busy working. They're too busy working. They don't pay attention. And I think a lot of them probably don't even type. I'm not out of ignorance because they're working, right? And so they just watch all these policies around them change. And it's not just the policies, it's the climate. It's the climate. It's like the demonization and true hatred of this total demographic, this huge demographic that's so crucial to our nation, right? And so my daughter's boyfriend actually is a Republican. He came in, he's like 18 years old, and I said to him, I said, hey, just right off the bat, because I'm writing a paper on this, right? I said, right off the bat, tell me what do you picture a farmer as? You know, I'm just like a commercial farmer. You're someone that, you know, I don't know, either crops or, you know, not like my kind of farming. And he's like, I think of them as not being very bright, and he went through, he was like white, uneducated, and all the things, but that's like, and why does he feel that way? Because that's kind of the way people in general in the cities that have no idea how complex and complicated and difficult farming is, that's kind of how they view them. Well, if you have more people, you know, you take people from the cities that, you know, I can't even tell you, everybody who has a farm here that's listening, I know for a fact that when you have people come to your place, they're like, oh my God, this is my dream. This is my dream, right? Well, there's so many people in the city that we could be helping. Like, I don't mean helping by, you know, giving them, because I think never money is the answer. And this is not my opinion. This is what one of my friends in England, when I went this time, was her husband's South African. He's a South African doctor, but he's a doctor and a researcher. Actually, he researches the human papillomavirus. But anyway, it's very interesting. But so anyway, he went back to South Africa, and a lot of the farms have been taken over by, they've been like reclaimed by the black people, right? And so what had happened though is that they didn't know how to farm. So how long do you think, if you don't know how to farm, and how long do you think before everything's going to die? It's going to be pretty fast. Like, so really, you know, the answer would have been, if they're going to reclaim it, then they needed to have them teach them, because like, I can't even tell you, even like 15, you know, we were raising $1 million racehorses, and I tried to raise my sheep like $1 million racehorses, and they were dying. like they are so different. You can't take one thing but how would you know that until you experienced it? And thankfully, you know, I was able to, you know, replenish my flock, but I lost a lot of animals. You really need to have someone teach you. And then, of course, I don't ever think the government is the answer to anything. I think bureaucracy sucks. And I don't think giving money, like I said, is the answer either. I think really what farmers need to do is they really need to themselves become involved. It's not someone forcing you to incorporate other demographics. It's you understanding that it's in the best interest of your industry. I mean, that's really it. And like, you know, and there's certainly enough, you know, Monsanto included, there's certainly enough corporations that could, you know, make a fund, and then they could have a board that, like, you know, helped people with a down payment after having an internship or something with other farmers, you know, so that they could get the experience, paid internships. I mean, I think honestly, I think that the only way, I'm not saying that's the only answer, but I'm saying the only way I think to stop the demonization of farming is that we have to reach out to other communities of disenfranchised people and communities of color. And I say this even though I look white, which I love, because Trisha's like, you look white, no one cares. And it's like, okay, but I am a Cherokee Indian, and I actually have my card, and my children have their card, and their CDIB card, and their Cherokee Nation tribal registration cards. But anyway, because everybody always says, every time you meet anybody, so there's a Pechunga Indian staying here. She's like 20 years old, and she's fostering, because there's so few foster families for Native American children, and it's disproportionately children from Native American homes end up in foster care, but only Indians can foster Indians, unless it's like there's like extreme cases. But there's a law, it's ICWA, and ICWA is really, I mean, it's a problem. It's really a problem if anybody else wants to foster. So anyhow, so that's another thing that I'm absolutely committed to doing, because I didn't realize that these children don't have anywhere to go, and their, you know, families are incarcerated, etc. But the point coming back to, I think that we have to ourselves take care of the problem, and the only way, because you have to get more people out of the cities, and if you have people if you have a diverse population, they will become invested. They will, right? They will feel included. And inclusion is always good. And then it's so much easier to fight all of the ridiculous bullshit that are just lies and propaganda. It really is. It's lies and propaganda. Yes, there's examples of, people being cruel. Like what happened was Ralph Lauren stopped using mohair because there was some video from South Africa. And I mean, there's just like, there's that. But the majority, an animal that is not taken care of well doesn't produce. That's just the reality. That's the reality, but people don't even think about that, And I know even before, I remember like, before I knew about how raccoons predated, how they really ripped everything's head off. Like they don't eat, they don't kill and then just eat what they kill. They kill everything. Everything they can get their little paws on, they just rip its head off. So, but I remember someone said something and they shot raccoons and it really upset me because I'm from California, right? I'm like, shooting raccoons. I mean, that's kind of barbaric over a chicken, right? This is the way I was thinking, even though I was raising poultry at the time and a poultry leader. But I was like, come on, and chicken's like $2. But anyhow, and they're, and I said, don't they just eat what they kill? And they were like, I was an idiot and ignorant. And I was an idiot and ignorant. I was an idiot and ignorant. They do, because you know why I know? Because I had it happen to me. And they do. They like kill everything. And so you just go out there and it looks like a Civil War reenactment. It's just bodies everywhere. So, but that's my answer to the problem, and I'm really committed to this, and I really want to get involved in this, and, I have the charity, and I think this is like my mission, and so what does it have to do with fiber arts? Because I'm telling you, if we can't have wool, and we can't have mohair, and they want to tax beef now, I just like, you guys, I'm like, what are they, just killing farming? I mean, it's not enough, you take our hay and you ship it abroad, and then you take our water and give it to golf courses, right? I mean, come on. You're going to now tax us for just raising beef? I mean, come on. Like, it's like so silly. And then you're wanting to do a thing where now this new thing is where there's like one day a week we're not, it's just not supposed to eat beef. And it's just like, well, I eat beef every day and I'm going to eat beef every day. Unless I'm eating rabbit, then I'll eat rabbit. But it just makes me so sad because I see, and I'm not, the amount of money that I make every year is nothing compared to some of these big farmers, and they're not taking care of their industry. And it's stupid. That's my speech. I really believe that's the answer. They have to reach out. Agree, City Slickers, that's right. Hi, Daniela. Skaten Drake 85. I hope I said that right. Hey, Bryce, I see you. Hi, Valerie, Rebecca. Okay, so anyway, so this demonization of farming really confuses me. Where the heck do people think their food comes from now? Factory farming is the devil, but small family farms are the way forward. Well, okay, and in factory farms, I'm conflicted about this because I think there are ways, that they can, I think, first of all, you have to take care of them no matter what. Otherwise, they don't produce. That's just the reality. It is. And I think we've gotten, a lot more conscientious about that. And we have a lot more, we demand, most people, I think, demand like cage-free and, et cetera, et cetera. I think organic, I feel I have a lot of conflict about that one because you don't vaccinate. And that's why things like Newcastle's and like 1 million birds are gassed, in Southern California alone. So if you want organic, they can't be vaccinated. And every time I lose if I don't vaccinate, give them their 2 boosters in their first shot, I missed some of my bottle babies. They were already done being bottle fed, and they were like 4 months old, and out of the 4, 3 of them died. I gave them 2 shots, not 3, and I usually actually give them 4. And so, the reality of Clostridium perfringens, which is overeating disease, is, true. So, imagine if they had 2 shots, if they had no shots, actually I probably wouldn't have had to spend all that money on formula. They would have died a lot sooner. But, and it's, I have, total conflict about that. I don't really believe in, or I just don't. That's just, me, because especially if I'm going to eat animals, I want them to have been vaccinated. And there's a complete difference between being vaccinated and having growth hormones. But we've done things just like, how we selectively bred for these Cornish crosses. Damn. I sold like 11 Cornish crosses today, and they were the size of small turkeys. I let them go a little bit too far, but I was feeding them like, instead of like the 24% feed, I was feeding them like a 16% layer. And so they, trying to keep them like a holding pattern instead of growing. I mean, they were just immense, like immense. I want to say they were like 20 weeks or something, immense. And that's all from selective breeding. There's no hormones in those chickens. So, and the things like cloning, what happens in cloning, I don't know if they've gotten a hold of this, figure this out yet. And I'm fairly doubtful, but it's possible. But when I was finishing my master's, and this is in 2005, and they in UC Davis, this guy wanted to clone his favorite cow. So they were trying to, and every time they would actually have a successful calf, it would be way too big because for some reason the clones weren't giving a signal to the uterus to birth. So they would do a C-section, and then she said that everyone at that time that they had wasn't particularly healthy. If it made it, it wasn't particularly healthy, and they were way, way oversized. So I think we're always trying to figure out these easy ways to create things right, and in some ways it's not the greatest thing. I mean, if just like those birds, they're just huge. I have 4 of them because I want to breed them right. You have to artificially inseminate them. But I want to breed them, so I have to keep them. I feed them twice a day, and we feed them a lot of lettuce. I'm like, well, it worked for, Suzanne Summers and etc. So what is it? Just the lettuce diet. So I give them lettuce and just a little bit of 16% protein feed, and then I'm gonna, get some eggs from them, since we can't get any birds shipped here still because there was just a case in San Diego of Newcastles, and it's virulent Newcastles. So it affects virulent Newcastles affects all species, I think, pretty much except for geese. I think geese aren't as affected, but it just wipes out, ducks and everything. And the one that's not virulent only wipes out chickens. And they just gas them. If it's in your area, they'll just come on your block and there's nothing you can do. Anyway, and then the water business in California is all evil corporations and money. Such corruption, it's true. I read that the vaccines dissipate and no harm in the meat that we eat. Right, but you're not allowed to call them organic. But, yeah, so the thing is that the reality is you guys, without farming is so amazing. And I think a lot of the problems that we have in today's society is we're not busy enough. I don't mean busy working, thinking about your bills. I mean busy, movement busy. I think, I even do you look at movies, from the, 40s and see how thin everybody is? You're like, yeah, that's because they were all bulimic. That's when we thought bulimia was good. But no, the guys even, you're like, yeah, and they smoked a lot. Yeah, they smoked, drank, and were bulimic. I don't think they necessarily exercised. I think it was just a different, I don't know. You're like, wow, this is so boring. Could I just off myself right now? No, because I need you. You guys, it's going to take me a little while to reboot. I've been off for 90 days and I've been in bed with my husband most of it. I'm like, wow. But I was going to teach you something today. It's, what is it? Is it teach in 10 minutes? What is it, you guys? I can't even remember. 10-minute teach? I think it is. I'm going to teach you something. And it's something that's really cool, except if you don't hand spin. Then it's probably really boring and you're, once again, going to want to off yourself. Okay, let's see. I'm reading to see if anybody says anything. Kate says it's her birthday week. It's a party. Okay, so anyway, you guys, we need to do something. How can we do, we need to make it, can somebody think of a way to make a difference? Because what we have to do is we have to start a movement on this. But so I wrote this long paper all about this, and I had all the statistics, which you guys are like, wow, riveting. No, but you should back up what you're saying, right? And we have to do something. We really, truly do. Otherwise, our meat is going to be so expensive. And where are we going to get our meat? We're going to get our meat from Mexico and places where they don't have as many. And look at all the people that will not have work. Okay, my husband's here because he has to show you with the camera. So, so he was nice enough to come in and do this. Okay, I'm sweating, you guys. Don't judge, okay? Don't judge. You're we're judging the fact that your shirt's too small for you. That it is. Okay, so I'm going to show you, for those of you who don't know, I'm going to show you my favorite way to lock spin yarn, which is Laura Spinner's Magic Thumb, which is amazing. And I'll show you why it's different. Let's see. But I don't know. I'm going to put this behind me so you can see. Okay. And I don't want to, my cat, you see how short my hair is? It's so short right now. It's going to take 15 years to grow it back. That's the way it goes. Okay, my husband says it's hot. He says everything about it's hot. So, I'm like, look at all the skin on my neck. He's like, I know it's hot. I mean, I gotta love him for that. Okay, let me just warm up my hands. So this is just mohair, just dyed mohair. And her thing is way better if you have short locks. I was showing people in my group, my team ready method. So I just pick them kind of apart. So, let's see. Normally, when we spin, right, you spin and you draft, right, you have your, I call this my quality control, my hand that's in the front. And I call my hand that's behind the drafting, right? So like this is kind of, you'd be like this, right? And if you have really short locks, what you can do is, in this way, you know, you can make them way more, it can be really cuter because there'll be more little ends. The longer the locks, actually, the worse it is, the worse it looks. Unless you want something that's pretty perfect looking and doesn't have like little curlicues coming off of it. Here, this is short right here. Okay. Because the more ends you have, the more ability you have to be able to have it like stick out. But this is dark, this is going to be hard to see. I'll put something up. Okay, so if I was going to do it the way that, you know, most people lock spin, I would do it like this. Have my drafting hand, and I would have my quality control hand, right? But you can still pick it out like this as and make these little ends stick out so it's super cute, right? But Laura, she is she's awesome. She does it this other way, but no one really knew at first what she was doing. Like, she was at my house and all these people were going, oh, the way you spin is really, look at it, it's amazing. And I was like, what is she doing? I didn't get it. And then we just had to sit there and stare at it for a while. And so what she does is she doesn't add it back here. She adds it in front. So what it does is it makes this super awesomely textured yarn, because it's not going through the middle of her fingers. Because when it goes through the middle of your fingers, you're making it, you're flattening it out. And she comes in at a 90-degree angle. So when you come in at a 90-degree angle, it does a lot of things. One of them is that you won't have barber pulling. Like, because if I come in here and I add, I was showing people this yesterday or the day before. So if I come in and I add it like at an angle, like the normal way, and I am, you know, joining, I'm going to have this section that has this barber pull, right? And so I was saying that if you have a bunch of these barber pulls in your yarn and you don't have the same angle every time, and then you have a bunch of different colors and you have a bunch of different textures, and then you have add-ins, it just becomes an ugly mess because there's just too much. Just too much. Especially if it's super high contrast. So when you're adding on, doing Laura's method, I'll show you what happens. But I think you have to have a little bit of barber pulling, otherwise it just becomes like a color blocking. Let me just make a little bit of this, and then I'll show you. Okay, so now if I was going to take this, and I was going to do it Laura's way, I'd come in at a 90-degree angle. And if I come in at a 90-degree angle, what happens is I end up really not having, I end up having like a color block. It's a block of color and a block of color, as opposed to having a barber pull. So that's one of the reasons why I like the way she does it. The other way, the reason why I like the way she does it, is so it doesn't have angles, and so what people, I just want you to know, if you see any angle at all to your twist right here, you're not doing the magic thumb. That's the hardest thing for people, because they want to, even though, so most people are so dialed into putting it here and drafting it like this, that they'll be having it like this and trying to make their hand look like it's coming at a 90-degree angle. If it's not coming in at your thumb, right here, and coming in right at a 90-degree angle, then you're not doing it. And that's exactly, you go like, and then you just tease it. You're like teasing it with your fingers. And as you're teasing it, and then if you want to build twist in it, you can also do this, watch. If you build a little twist in energy, you can just take your fingers and run it right down the middle. And it just makes this super, super curly, bulky yarn, but it has a ton of air in it. This has a ton of air in it because it's wrapping around. So like the equivalent, if you were like using Lexi's word, it's kind of like making a coreless core spun, but which I hate that word. Like, so you're just, that's what she calls like a coreless core spun. And she does her mohairy kind of like that too. So anyway, hang on, because this is really, I gotta hold the bottle. And the reason why she figured this out was because she wanted to make, people wanted doll hair that was super curly and that was bulky, and she has a lot of doll hair people. So that's how she made it, and she needed it when she cut it not to fall apart. So here. So then if you build energy right here, you can just run your thumb down it like this. It's actually a very fast way of spinning. Ba-doo. And so it doesn't work as good if you have longer locks, and I'll show you why. Because what will happen is like this is pretty long. Because they're so long, you don't have a lot of texture. It ends up being kind of flat. Because you need these ends, those little ends right there, see? See how it's flat now? Right here. But the ends are what make this texture, which I think is super pretty. So I'm not a huge fan of doing it with longer locks. I like it with shorter locks. The only time that you're going to have something like really pretty is if you right at that very end where you join, or you know, at the end of your. See, it really flattens it out, but it still makes a pretty yarn. It's so fast. Oh my god, it's like my favorite way to make yarn. And then once you start doing it like this way, you won't want to do it any other way. Dad, was that 10 minutes? Might have been 3. I don't know, BC. Do you guys have any questions? Let me see if you have any questions. Okay, great technique. Clouds. Awesome, 9 degree, thanks. Is it best? No. Do not do it at a 45. And thank you, Delia. Okay, how can I spin in boots? Oh, because I can. And I've missed you, Diana. So, and then this is the thing. What I do too is like, I don't make singles. I'm a compulsive singles maker. And so like if I want to put any add-ins in, I'll do her technique. And then I'll just split right in the middle of my yarn. And then put either the thread that's holding the add-on, or like if it's a tail, I'll just split this part right here and add the tail. That's one way. That's only one way. I have like 7 ways or something to tail spin. But you have to make sure that you pinch it. You have to pinch it so that it felts, like felt. You pinch, you pinch, you pinch. After you get it in, you pinch. And then you take your lock. This was a really bad lock to do with. And you split the middle of the lock. Split the middle of the lock, and then you go like this. We'll pull it through. Like that. And then your lock is there. And this one is better. Yes. What? I'm going to do one more. Sean says I have to do one more because it's not a good one. These ones are really good. So this is bad because it's the same color though. Here, so what you're going to do is, what I do is I will either split, I'll split right in here, right in the middle, my yarn, and I'll put like a few little hairs. Or sometimes I won't even, and I'll let it catch. And then if you pinch, you have to pinch and kind of draft, and it'll take hold of it. Then you take it, you open up the middle here, you bring it around, and you just like lock it on like this. And then you can flatten it out pretty easily. If that little bump bothers you, then you have to run a piece of wool over the top. But you do it like this, like little tiny. Like just little right over the top, right there. And then that'll hold it in place so it won't shift. Dog wants to kill somebody. Hope nobody kills my rabbits tonight. I'm very nervous about them. And then it can't come off because it's locked on. And then it's like secured down. But her way, I love her way. And like a lot of people, like I'm saying, if all you have to do, if you think you're doing, if you're not sure if you're doing it, is if it has any angle at all, then you're not doing it. It's just so hard to get out of the habit of like letting your yarn go through right here. But I mean, once you stop doing it, every time you pick up locks, you're gonna do Laura's way because it's so fast. It does make a bulkier yarn though, and it does use a lot of fiber because you're well, of the nature of it. I mean, you're not really drafting it. It's just a bulkier yarn, but it's light. It's light. It's not like full of fiber, you know. It should be more like it should be really airy. Okay. Lots of short mohair is perfect. The locks, I think this is like the best size for locks. So whatever that is. Wait, hang on. I have it. Do you see my thing there, Dad? Here. Right here. So let me see. That was like, okay, so like that was like 2.5 inches. So 2.5 inches, 3 inches. So, so that means that's, you know, you don't want some dense fleece. You don't want to use like merino. Look, like merino here. I just have a raw merino, but here, because it's just too dense of a fiber. This is really fine. It's raw and fine. So like it's not going to look good. You'd have to have a long wool thing, something with curlicues. Like, see, if I do this, it's going to be stupid. I mean, this is really fine fleece. See, it's just going to look ugly. Because this has blunt tips. The tips are blunt. And then this would just be, it's not going to be good, in my opinion. You know, this is not what this is for. But what I do with this, I'll just put it in, like, right at the lock, at the very tip. And it'll break. It'll break because it's so tiny. It'll want to be like this. Look, this is how thin it'll want to be. It'll be like thread. And then when it hits this, it'll break. Like this is merino. The finer the fleece, the thinner it wants to spin. My favorite is to spin end to end without combing. And I always make, whenever I teach, I always make people do it. And then what you do is if you grab a piece of like Coriadil, here's Cori. Like, see how, look at this. Okay, see, this is a lamb. That's a lamb. But see how bold that is? Okay, and then look at this. See how tiny it is? The crimp, and see how it pulls off in the lock structure, and see how this one pulls off. You know that one's like probably like 5, 6, or even more microns finer than that, just based on the way it peels off and based on how many crimps per inch. And this is about as fine as this would get because it's a lamb fleece. This one's an adult, and so this one would spin way thicker. Not way thick. I mean, not way thicker, but it's going to spin thicker. Okay, let's see. And then Dalia, I had to think about that. Dalia, I have beautiful long flat locks from black alpaca. I'm wanting to spin, but I think this will work with shorter series locks. Yeah, probably short, totally. I learned a magic thumb at a class you taught. Yes, it was an all-home moment. It's awesome. Do I have bunnies? I have rabbits. I have Californias. And they're yummy. No one else will eat them, and I slaughter 2, and then, which I won't slaughter anything and eat it. I won't eat my sheep, but I will eat the rabbits. Because it's the exact texture. For those of you who haven't had rabbit, it's the exact texture as if you took halibut and you crossed it with chicken. That texture. It's like really soft, but not. It's softer than chicken. Like the meat texture is softer than chicken, but a little heavier than halibut. Like it's not great. I don't know. It's like you can feel this. It's just like melty. It's melty in your mouth, but not not like avocado. Not like that. It's exact. Sean looked at me like I was insane. Shut up, Sean. Don't make fun of your wife. You're so cruel. I take care of him later. Anyway, so that's the story on that. It's good. It's all I can say. And the first time I had it was I was working at this place, and it was when I would come back from modeling. And they used to. It was a restaurant. I was a bartender, and they would make they'd make a rabbit pasta. So they would put the rabbit into the into this pot and then boil it, and then boil all the bones. Make it like it's like what is that called? You guys help me. Whatever. And I would just put my hand in that and just be grabbing this like boiled rabbit and just be, it was so, and I was a long distance runner at the time. Like I lived on that stuff. And I have to be honest with you, the first time that I did this at my house, I cooked them in the oven and it was really, It was really good, but I could not stop seeing their little bunny faces, right? That was really hard. When it's someone else's rabbit, I didn't see bunny faces, but when I'm doing my own rabbits, I'm seeing bunny faces. And so then I had to take it and boil it. I boiled it after I baked it. And then I made Sean make me chicken salad and just call it chicken salad. Just call it chicken salad sandwich. And then I had chicken salad sandwiches on like ciabatta, like every night for a few nights for sure. And it was so, but if you called it rabbit salad, I wouldn't be able to eat it. It had to be chicken. Is that just the stupidest thing? Like somehow it's so cruel. If I feel like cruel and like a terrible mother if I kill them. However, if I buy them in the store killed, it's perfectly fine. It's just like so stupid. It's just, oh my God. It's really, I'm still scarred by my father when we lived in New Zealand. In the middle of dinner saying, do you like your food? And I said, yes. And he said, that's Einstein. And Einstein was our sheep. And so like, and I loved Einstein. Yeah, my dad was a real sadist. Real pig. But anyway, that's another story. I know, I want to show you Scrappy really quick. Wait a second. Where's my dog? Here he is. Oh, look at him. I'm going to do a text about him into Siri today. Because okay, so my big thing is I'm always sending like sexual text messages to my husband, and they're pretty raunchy. I'm not going on. And, but they never come out like that. I get so pissed, so I keep saying edit. And then after the 5th time, I'm totally over, like, writing something sexy. Because, I'll be in the car, and I'm like, what is it? Dictating it, like, text Sean. And then it's like, I'm all in the mood, and like, and then she reads it back, and it's like, the moon is blue, and I really love your chicken, that kind of stuff. It's like makes no sense. I took the school bus and it was a long walk, and you're like, what? And then I'm like, I must have a speech impediment. So then I started like really trying to enunciate clearly and really go slowly. And this, I don't know what it is. And Jenny's whole life is about Siri and like, what's the other one? What's the Alexa? To the point where she'll not realize she's not in her house, and she'll be in the car and she'll be like, Alexa, turn the music up 2 notches. I mean, it's just like, seriously. Like, I actually said, you're codependent with Alexa. Don't worry, it's not an earthquake. It's just a peacock. Anyway, this is him. Oh, my God. It's his, you guys. Please don't. We only do that in private. Is he the cutest thing ever? Sean would say, stop showing him your dog. They don't give a shit. So I'm gonna do a sexual scrappy text, because if I say it about my husband, then it's just gonna be like porn. You're like, that's okay. We can probably sell that on one of those my goiter. I was like, that's great. Can't someone? I just want my girlfriend who's a vet just to cut it off. It's extra skin. What are you gonna do about it? Okay. Let me get to read. Do you guys ever do dictation to Siri? Because that's how I'm always doing that. Because my fingers are so clumsy. I have giant man hands. I know it doesn't seem like it would, but I do. I have giant man hands. And so, and besides the fact that my nails are completely bitten off, but they're also very calloused. So I'm always hitting the wrong keys. So it's just easier if I dictate it. But then it's not easier if I dictate it, because by the 5th time I have to edit, I just get pissed. Let's see. Let me see. I'm asking you, do you guys dictate to Siri? I watched the Harvey Weinstein thing today, you guys, at like, I was like 4 in the morning, and oh my God, what a pig. Oh my God. And even funny, not funny or funny, haha, funny. But so there was this, I was trying to think, oh my God, this guy reminds me of this Scarmento when I was modeling. He was such a pig. I was terrified of him. I think I want to say it was from Israel, but he was insane. Like the total Harvey Weinstein type. And I remember always saying to Ari, that I was like afraid of him. I was afraid of him, and you had to be afraid of him. He was just a dangerous person. He's the type of person that in a restaurant would just like start yelling and standing on the table, and just like he'd just be reaching and grabbing things off of the dessert tray. And I mean, he was just be grabbing the waitress's butt when she walked by. I mean, he was just a pig, like a pig. So anyway, I was talking to someone I know from back then. I was like, what was that guy's name? Because I was thinking about him. He was such a pig. And they said, Bebo. And I was like, Bebo. I was like, whatever happened to him? And he goes, he was killed by the Russians. Russian mafia killed him. I said, yep, that sounds like something that would happen to him. Like he'd mess with the wrong people, so he's dead. He was a pig. Okay, then, okay, never, because it always comes out messed up. And Siri, never, never. Yes, but normally to try to get her to say bad things. I use it all the time. Delia, does yours work? Because I was thinking, I must have a speech impediment. I'm not even kidding you. There must be something wrong with the way I talk. I know I speak rather rapidly, but I didn't think that I didn't enunciate clearly. My one son mumbles. Oh my God, I want to just throat punch him. His lips, so I can't even read his lips. Like, I have closed caption on all the time. I do that. I have to have closed caption on all the time. And so, and I want that above his head. I want the closed caption above his head so that I can understand what he's saying. No, Siri. What is this? I hate when it skips to. I love how they were gonna hold your thing for review. Oh my God. Sounds like batshit crazy. Oh no, he was insane. He and you have to understand, for me to be afraid of somebody when I was, and I had every night every night after work, you know, whatever that was, everybody would meet, all the Garmentos would meet, and like I would meet because I was dating a Garmento. So like we'd meet in the Regent Hotel and we'd have drinks. And then we'd go down into the steakhouse of the Regent Hotel and have, and usually have dinner. And I lived in the New World Apartments, which was attached to the Regent, and it overlooked every single apartment that they had overlooked Hong Kong Bay. It was awesome. So you'd see, you were on Kowloon Island, you'd look over Hong Kong Bay, and you'd look at Hong Kong. It was amazing. Like, really amazing. Amazing view. And big, giant, you know, those big, giant windows. It was awesome. Just a great experience. But, so he'd be in there, and I remember always just being like, making sure that I didn't have to sit anywhere near him. And I want to say he worked for Jordache. He was a Jordache jeans designer. And I think had been with the company for like a really long time, and the Jordache brothers knew that. And this is in the 80s, like when Jordache was a big thing. And so, you know, there were a lot. And then Gerard Guez, which was not Guez jeans, but they had no jeans. And then another guy, his name was Sassoon, but we called him Sassoon. We'd say Sassoon. What was his first name? I can't remember. He was from Israel. Really nice. But so all of these guys, usually they're from Israel, Tunisia, and Morocco. Usually the garment people in the garment industry. And so we'd all sit there, and we did this for years. But I was just absolutely petrified of him. Like, if I saw him in the, like if we met passing by, like, you know, going into the region or something, I literally would like make an about face, or like, you know, go wide or pretend like I was talking to somebody. I mean, I'm not kidding you. That's how scary he was. He was really a bad dude, really bad character. I mean, they were all, you know, but all they did was like sleep around on their wives, and they were just terrible. And like with the models, mostly with the models, not me, thank you. But you know, we all had those Harvey Weinstein experiences, by the way. I mean, totally had those experiences where someone would be like, I just need you to fit this garment. It would be after hours. They'd call, the agency would tell you, you have to go to the Regent Hotel room, like, you know, 510, because whatever, someone, you know, let's say that it was the Jordache brothers, like the Jordache jeans wants you to fit this style before it's sent to whatever, LA. And so it would be, you'd make $150 just for that 3 seconds. But the second they said it was a room, I would just be like, okay, if it's after hours, is there going to be an assistant there? Because if there's not going to be an assistant, I'm not going. And that's just the way it is. Because, I mean, that Harvey Weinstein thing, totally, all the time. And you just had to be, but I don't think there was anybody that powerful that like could like ruin your career. They could have ruined your career within the jeans community, right? But they couldn't have ruined your career like for things like, you know, Prada and like all the other companies, you know, Liz Claiborne, and, you know, I worked for Macy's. I did, every time Macy's had I did all of their showroom stuff. So every time the buyers, each season when the buyers would come, I'd be the person that was showing them their line. What was it called? Jennifer, whatever their line, I can't remember the name of the clothing line was. Jennifer, I want to say it, but it's their, like, I don't know, private label or whatever. And they would, and I would make so much money, but I'd be working like from 7 in the morning until like 8 at night. And I know it sounds stupid, but it was exhausting. You're like, all you were doing was putting on clothes and standing there and then turning and then turning and then turning and then standing and like smiling. Yeah, but it was tiring. I mean, I had to look good too. Hello. No one ever complained about my arm that's like 5 inches shorter. That fascinates me. And believe me, it wasn't because they were trying to be nice, like this poor disabled girl. No one said anything. Ever. Let's see. Okay, So, any questions, everybody? What do you want to do next week? What do you want me to talk about? What about on our 10-minute or teach it? I don't know, whatever it's called. Teach it for 10 minutes. Is that what it's called? Whatever it is. I'll teach you guys something. You just have to tell me what. Because otherwise, I'm just going to teach you just stuff. But if I have a request, then I'll teach you something fun. We are going to do a giveaway. Because remember, I was going to do. I remember $30 gift certificate. But I can't remember. Was it? Oh my God! Was it? Shopper gifted. Shopper gifted. I can't remember what it was for, but I do remember. Can someone tell me? Someone help. Someone help. You guys, where are you? Okay. Help. Do you guys remember I remember when we last, it was like $30. I was going to do gift certificate. I think I was going to do 2 of them. This is what I thought, but I can't remember what it was for. Could someone help me? Still waiting for the rooster? Speaking of which, I did let them take those chickens and I gave away. I always give something to the imam because they bring me pallets of dog food and we don't have any right now. And I just want you to know that it's expensive and I feed it to the turkeys. I know that seems gross that I feed dog food to the turkeys, but it's really high in protein. This one's like 27% and it costs $19.99 for a bag, like a 40-pound bag. Of course, it has asbestos in it and probably lead, but who cares? I'm not eating the turkeys. That actually was really funny, and I'm going to write that down. That was an excellent joke. And my delivery, if I do say so, was really good too. Okay, Samantha Vincent remembers. Yeah, but what was it for? Was it shopper gifted? Because I'm going to have to tell you what that is. Ejaculation? Oh, you want me to show you ejaculation with the chicken? I should practice that with him. No, I'm serious. It's actually fascinating. And then you look and you're like, after all that work of petting him and then pulling his tail back, he gives you like a little dribble. I drool more in my sleep than he ejaculates. I'm talking about the chicken, by the way. I should probably specify that. Andrea is like, lol. And then wait, should we knit along an accessory? Like what kind of an accessory? Like what? Because accessories are super easy. But I guess it depends on what. I could do like, I'm trying to think of something really catchy and there was nothing but a big gigantic blank. Hang on. You guys are like, you're not funny tonight. I know. You guys, I was partying with my husband. I'm sorry. It takes a lot of energy. That was not I thought it was good. No, that was one of those jokes where, seriously. Oh, what about the e-cigarette? My favorite part is, I know I already told you, but I'm going to tell you again, when my son's like, because he smokes, apparently. I never see him smoke because he can't actually afford cigarettes. But then he's like, well, I do smoke organic. I said, you're actually intelligent, and that just came out of your mouth. You do know that, right? You said organic and cigarette together, okay? So when you're dying of lung cancer, I will remind you, you know what? It would have happened a lot quicker if they weren't organic. I mean, seriously. Like, that's just such an ignorant thing to say. It just is. I'm sorry. I don't know how that... I mean, you would have to really be in denial for that one to work. And I know, unusual, because I was thinking, what about those cock socks? But my husband's, I'd have to make one so long. You guys are like, no, it actually wouldn't be long. Winter's coming, cow hat, fingerless gloves. Samantha's like all business. She's like, forget this. You guys are being stupid, so I'm just going to say it. We could do a knit along, but do you want to do it on Ready Method? My daughter, that lizard, I'm just going to tell you, I have wondered, because you'll hear people love these lizards, that they fall in love. My children are in denial. So she goes, no, check this video out. They were outside and it was hot. It's always hot here, right? It's in the sun and he's like basking himself on the disintegrated granite on our road, our driveway. And he just looks at her and he gets all excited and he jumps on her leg and then crawls up. I'm serious. And there wasn't like a scary thing. It wasn't like he's like, Mom, Mom, that kind of thing. It was like, oh, you're there. And then but she sleeps with him every night. The sheets in the last year, like, it would be really gross. I actually said to my daughter, I think you could be gross. Because, like, I wash my sheets like twice, 3 times a week. Seriously. And I iron the top one and the pillowcases. And so, and I don't, my reason for not wanting to change them would be that, like I don't want to have to iron, but I think I've seen new sheets on her bed in the last maybe 9 months, maybe 3 times I've washed them. That's just gross. And then she gives her lizard a bath today. Like, she's giving a lizard, and I'm like, what? Did he not wear deodorant? I mean, why are you giving him a bath? She's like, I don't know. I just feel like he needs one. I'm like, well, you're going to put him in dirty sheets. So all in all, it's like a net zero-sum game here. That was the name of the book that was good for lovemaking that you gave as gifts. Oh, it was the Lesbian Love Bible. I'm telling you, like, I don't think, I mean, I told you, I watch porn, a lot of porn. You're like, okay, so Natalie's a porn addict and a drug addict and a sex addict, yes. Okay, take out the drugs. But, but I'm telling you, like, hands down, well, I mean, they've got nothing on my husband. None of the girl on girl, none of the, I'm just like, he's just an amazing lover. And I will give him, he has a great memory. He read that, and I would have to say that probably brought him up, like, he didn't even need really to be brought up, but it brought him up another 30 points. You're like, well, that's a lot. Yeah. And then he's reading it, and he's reading stuff to me, and I'm like, I didn't know that. No, like, seriously. And I know a lot about anatomy, but apparently not. It's like, wow. Fascinating. Seriously. And it's so funny, because, like if I don't know, if you would have asked me if I watched porn like 10 years ago, I would have just been like, that's none of your business. I don't know what happened to me. I got this like sodium pentothal in my, instead of blood in my veins. That's basically what it is. Like, all of a sudden I have this like truth serum. It's like, I'll just pretty much say anything. People are like, you used to be okay to take to a party, and now we're so afraid of what's going to come out of your mouth. We're just like, yeah, Natalie's sick. She's got jury duty again. And then they'll tell me, no, they're not having a party this year. Because you never know what I'm going to do. Especially if someone if I think someone's like not judgmental. And actually, if I think they are judgmental, I'll still do it, but for a different motivation. If I think they are judgmental, I'll do it because I just feel like people need to loosen up, right? So what do I do? Like, I'll just start talking, be speaking in very provocative terms. Basically, like how you would think a truck driver would talk to another truck driver who's really horny and like has no boundaries. That's kind of what I do. And then I smile because I think it's funny. I do. I think it's funny because it makes people really uncomfortable. And it's like, I guess, a form of manipulation. If I think they're like really stuck up and like, then I will do that because I feel like it's entertaining to me, quite frankly. And it's too exhausting to fake like who you are, right? It's really exhausting. So I don't want to do that. I would just rather be like, and typically what ends up happening is they actually like me. Yeah, I know. It seems weird because I sometimes do that to even Airbnb people, which isn't probably very smart because, well, they rate me, right? But I do. I will do that. But typically not, I won't do it usually if it's a couple, I don't do that. If it's like, girls or it's, guys all together, I'll do it, but I won't do it if it's an obvious couple. Because that would just be messed up. And that would seem like I was hitting on them. Or them. Which you don't normally want to do. Okay. Well, what did you change the subject to? Okay, so Stephen's asking me a business question now. But it is about testicles. So it's fair game. Here we go. It's not exactly off topic. So do I ever keep wethers because they have phenomenal fleece even though they cannot reproduce? I never castrate my males. Okay, so there's let me just talk about, there's some thoughts about this. If you, castrated animals typically grow, they will grow taller. So testosterone typically will make things shorter. That's why they say on large breed dogs, and actually in females too, it'll make them, like Wonder, my Great Pyrenees was owned by a vet tech who had her fixed really early, like probably 4 months, and she is very weedy. So she's very tall and narrow. So if you make it so that they don't, produce the sex hormones, then they typically will get weedy. So what it does in wethers is if you do it too early, and I used to, and then you notice that like their urethra and their whole apparatus is very small, and then they will get urinary calculi. So typically, you know, you don't want to castrate them early. And then I just don't even castrate them because my breeds are, except for the Corriedales, are pretty, they take a long time to mature. Like they get to the really, I'd say they're solid size at like 4. So, you know, and when I used to castrate really early because it's way easier on them. It's so much easier on them if you know, do it super early because, you know, they haven't reached sexual maturity and their testicles aren't ginormous, right? Because then you can, you know, I mean, I've seen their entrails actually come out like if they have a hernia, right? I mean, like literally. So anyhow, the point being that I just don't do it anymore because either I'm afraid that if I wait too long that they're going to, you know, I'm going to kill them that way, and it takes them a long time to recover. We have a lot of flies here. And what I do is I would always cut the bottom of the cod. So in an adult male, I cut the bottom of the cod, and I literally just pinch them out, these giant testicles. You like push them out, pull the cod back and push them out, and then you know, you pull and twist, and you just do it really fast, and you have to commit, and that's the best way, and it's totally bloodless. If you cut them, it's not bloodless, but if you twist and you just pull, but then you have to cut you've just slit the bottom of the cod, which you know is very, it's very tough. The skin's very tough because it's hitting the ground. But you have to cut the bottom off so that it doesn't heal up too soon so it can drain. So you slice it, but then you have to cut the bottom off, cut a section out, so it'll just drain. But it's really hard on them. And so then, you know, they can get wool break. And then if you do it too early, you can make their urethra really small. And then they end up getting urinary calculi. And so I just do not castrate any of my animals. And so I don't worry about them fighting either because by the time they're of sexual maturity, I have very few rams left. Very few, I could mean maybe 15 out of like, you know, at my biggest point every year is 300, so and something, I don't know. Somewhere around that, so I just won't have, you know, I keep getting, you know, throughout the year, the for halal, they keep going for halal. So that's my whole thing about castration of ruminants. Let's see. Samantha says she had a bearded dragon that was like that, and then Deanna's saying she'd love $30 of short raw fleece to spin magic thumb. And then Darlene said, Natalie, what was the name of the book? Okay, yeah, that one I already read. Okay, Smoke Organic. Ah, that's funny. I know. Thank you. A scarf with lock spin. Okay, that would be fun. A scarf with lock spin would be so easy. But then well, we're doing that. Are you guys on the teams? Because we have like Team Reading method, which was the second one to fill up. So I felt really proud. And I was like, you guys, could we please try and win it? Because if I'm actually going to compete in something, could we try and do it? And I love this is because Roberta, I love Roberta. So everybody knows her as Ann Bammer. So anyway, she's like, Natalie, we really got to make a team. Let's make a team ready for method for this thing, and let's do it. Let's get people. Let's do this thing. And I'm like, I don't even know what this thing is. And so she explains to me, and I go, okay, whatever. As long as I don't have to do anything, that's great. So then she writes back, and this is like, you know, a week later. She goes, okay, with the team, we got everything going. Okay, now you got to make a team page, and, you know, you're the captain of the team. And I'm like, what? wait. What happened to the part where if I don't have to do anything, that sounds great? But I'm happy. I'm happy to do it. So we have a meeting. We have a meeting every Tuesday, which is really actually pretty fun. It's fun. And it's only, you know, I guess it's from October 6th to like, it's for a week. And there's these rules. And of course I hate rules. I just want to stomp on rules. I want to find a way to like ride the line and not break the rules, but like, you know, make people think, oh, I didn't think of making a rule about that. Like, seriously, that's me. Okay, let's see. Oh, let's see. Are we buffering? Not buffering. It came back. Sales tips. Sales tips about what? Sales tips about what? I'll give you sales tips. Dyed mohair. Would love to see it. Dyed mohair. My dyed mohair right now is not that great. But the one you guys won't be able to see. This you won't be able to see. Wait, let me see the actual color. It's blue and it's got iridescent over the top. It's like amazing, but it never looks good, and I can't see it yet because there's a delay. Sales tips. Amber, you have to tell me about sales tips about what? It's not buffering. I see what it's doing, though. It'll skip for a minute. See, you can't see. It's like purple. That sucks. There's purple on the top. It's so good. Yeah, the light, see, because it degrades because it's going through the internet and then it's going through, so colors never look the same. Like, it sucks because I'm looking at them, and that's not what color they are. Not even close. And there are people at the bottom in the last sale. You guys, if you saw this room, I guess you kind of did see it, but it's not near as bad as outside. I haven't even unpacked the stuff from England yet. The only thing I took out was the stuff that I brought with me on the plane. I opened one bag and ended up shoving it into a 55 gallon drum. Half of the bag, I don't have anywhere to put it, and there's like 1,000 pounds sitting outside in those polypropylene bags, like feed bags, but they're giant feed bags, like giant. The feed bags come up to here. They're like the mesh, plastic mesh, whatever. They're like this wide and this tall. They hold 140 pounds each. They're huge. And you can imagine, because it's wool, so it's like this big, like you can't even put your arms around them, and each one's 140 pounds, 70 kilos. I got a top 10 at my 40. Oh my gosh. You got a top 10 for what? Was it for a horse? And then I'm sure it's much better in person. It is. Actually did a video on running a successful business. Basically change yourself to fit the customer. Yeah, okay, that's it. Okay, if that's what you want to know. So sales tips, that's it. Like you have to it's actually, I was talking to Sherry Tenney today, and she goes, yeah, you haven't been selling much stuff lately, have you, Natalie? I mean, come on, because I haven't been selling much stuff lately. And I was like, actually, I haven't been selling as much stuff as I normally do. I mean, that's actually true. I wonder why that is. And then I was like saying, well, the market does get saturated. But plus, in September, if people shear in this fall, this is when they're shearing. Now, so we won't sell as much, her and I, because other people have fleece. So then our customers will go direct to the farms, right? Rather than have to pay more because we're selling it, right? We have to buy it, and and even when you're reselling stuff, you still have to skirt stuff out. So you'll buy and you'll still lose a quarter to a third of it. It's just the way it is. So I lose, because I buy from the UK. I lose like a half of it, because their skirting is way different than our skirting. But anyway, but yeah, the thing about business is you have to figure out how you're going to set yourself apart, and whether it's customer service or and you have to also, the one piece of advice I always give people is that you absolutely have got to not sell what you think you want to sell. You have to sell what people want to buy. Because you may think you're an amazing, let's say you're an amazing bat maker, but everybody for some reason wants to buy your dyed comb top. Well, stop trying to shove bats down their throat. Go ahead and include, a couple, but go and move over towards, and then you can start putting things in like other products. And then if people want to if the people buy them from you, then that resonated, right? And then you add more of that. But what'll happen is people will want to sell what they want to sell, not necessarily what people want to buy. And I mean, that happens to me. Like, there are things that I've wanted to sell, and I put them online, and they don't sell very well. And then and actually bats is pretty much one of them. And I make amazing bats, believe me. I mean, I've got my triple picker and a zillion harders. I mean, and I am really good with color, and I have great fiber. I mean, what else could you want? But that market's already, pretty taken up by a lot of people. There's, that was like a consideration. And then I realized, to be honest with you, it's so much fucking work. I don't want to do it. I don't. And now especially, right? So, you have to, you can still every once in a while add them in, but if people aren't buying that from you, you can try it again. It's the same thing, like people sometimes, some seasons people will want dark fleece, and some seasons people won't. Typically, people don't want dark fleeces unless it's jet black in the summer. If it's just your ordinary gray, you'll sell maybe 4% of your sales, maybe 2% will be, dark fleece. And like I said, unless it's jet black. But, and so there's just these things, there's just things that, people will want from you and they think you're exceptional at. And then there's things that, they're just not. And you just have to, you just have to find what product it is they want, and then give them more of that, and more variety, and in different ways, and different colors, and different textures, and until scrap boxes. I did scrap boxes. I mean, what did I do? I can't even remember how many. It's 80 or 100 different scrap boxes, and they were really big. And then when they start to slow down, then I'm just okay, I'm not going to do them for a while, and then I'll bring them back. Because people will get really loyal and they want to buy every single thing that you make, and then after 3 years, and then buying every one, then you're starting to recycle colors because you can only have so many color combinations, right? I mean, that's just the reality. So I think and the other thing is have great customer service. That's the one thing I have to tell people, and it's really hard because you lose money. I mean, but you have to, being in business means you're losing money. You will lose money. There's a cost to doing business, and you have to accept that. And so you have to just be really good about, if they don't like it, just take it back. The only thing I don't like is if I get irritated if someone keeps it for a long time and then wants me to take it back. But like if they, tell me right away, I don't even make them send me the product back before I send them the new product. Like I, typically, especially if I know them, I just say keep it and I'll send you, what it is, what else do you want? What is it that I can get you? So you have to have that kind of an attitude, and not really ask questions, you get back. Or, just give them whatever they want and they can keep it. Whatever it is, it just depends on how valuable it is. If it was like long locks or something that was like $200 or something, I probably would take it back because it would be worth it for me to ship it. But I wouldn't take it back if it was like, $30 worth of fleece. I'd just be like, just keep it. And do you want your money back or do you want something else? I mean, that's just the kind of way you have to do it, especially because there's so many people doing, and that's the other thing is there's a lot of people doing what Sherry and I do, and then there's people that do the, what are they, are they like you get it on the buy, you do the group buy or whatever, you do a lot of that, and that kills it for people that are trying to retail, because even though they're really not getting it at wholesale, the person that's telling you let's do a group buy typically is making you think that you're getting it for wholesale. They're still making something. I don't think, why would they do it? It doesn't make any sense. Because they're taking a risk, right? I mean, every time you get something in, I don't care what it is. Even if I get silk lap from India or China, like, I'm taking a risk because sometimes you get silk lap and there's like so much cellophane in it and there's just crap in it. Like, stuff that hasn't, been degummed. And I mean, it's just, so you have loss. So if you did a group buy, you don't want to send out, if I did a group buy, I would never do that. But let's say I did, I wouldn't want to send out the shitty stuff. I would end up keeping the crappy stuff. So like, you can't do it for exactly a cost. That's silly. That doesn't make any sense because you're the one that's going to end up with the crap. I don't know. And I know a lot of people do that with Angelina because it's 10 pounds per color, but I just buy the 10 pounds. I just, that's just part of doing business. You have to have inventory. So, and for the most part, and Angelina I don't sell very often really. And I usually, had it for my scrap boxes, but I just like it. I like to have it because if I need it and if someone comes over and needs it, I don't know, I just want it. I want it. I think every studio should have like a lot of different things so that you can make different yarns and they can be cool, right? And that you're not doing the same thing over and over again. You have to have some sort of variety. The other thing is you have to make things, that 30% of your shit has to be ugly to you. That was the advice that Deborah Knight gave me. Make 30% ugly, because your style is not going to be everyone's style. And that's a hard thing to do, is to make something you don't like. And then Amber says, I feel like people want finished goods, but they take too much time and no one wants to pay what they're worth. That's kind of it. Okay, I guess, do you have any advice for selling your farm? Okay, they shear in the spring here. Okay, yeah, but it depends on what breed. Typically what'll happen is, it depends. If you have a long wool, a lot of time people will shear also the ewes in the fall, too. I feel like people want finished goods, but yes. So that's the thing. So the finished goods is a hard thing because you're right. If you go online, I would do, before I ever wanted to sell anything, and I sold the one, I made the pelt, it's like a humane pelt out of a felted fleece, an entire one, right? And so people were charging, I want to say someone were charging 140, but I'm like, I can't charge 140 for this. I had to bring it back from England, and then I put all the time into it, and then I dyed it. Most people don't dye them, right? Mine's dyed. So I was like, I'm going to charge $240 for it. And someone bought it for $240 because it was worth it. But I knew I didn't just pull a number out of the universe. I thought about it. If I could have sold it for $140 and it been, profitable for me, then I would have done that. But, by the time, you put, all the, 9 days being in England and, all the money and the everything, it's just shipping it, and it's just it's not, I can't do it. And plus I'm spending my time. And I always look at, I have a master's degree. I'm not going to make $7 an hour. I'm just not. And so, you have to also have your self-worth in there. So at the end, if you look and see what other people are charging, and then if what you think you need to make is not going to make it pencil, then either you have to make such a unique product that's different than theirs in some way that will make someone want it, right? You couldn't have the same thing. And then, that's just the way it is. The reality is, so you go and you check on Etsy or whatever and find out what other people are charging for it. And then, when you first start, you have to stay in line. You have to stay in line with what other people are doing, unless your product is really outrageously different. Like, remember when Catwise? You guys remember Catwise? You should check her stuff out. It's not relevant anymore, but it used to be really cool, and everybody wanted to do it. Anyone who had a serger, right, is to take these sweaters, like, you know, and like put all these sweaters in this patchwork way together that, like, you bought it like Goodwill or whatever, right? And Catwise was really unique, but shit, man, there were other people that were really unique too, and they saw what she was doing, and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna make money doing that, since she's making like $1,000 a sweater, right? And the Russians, like, for felting, they're amazing felters. They're really good felters. And you know, the Japanese, like, for no felting, Russians, and then for needle felting, the Japanese, oh my God, because their attention to detail is outrageous. So, like, in those kind of things, like the markets, unless you're a tremendous artist, and that's the thing, is that, you know, I think if someone can make something, like, let's say you, like, you know, say you hand paint silk, or you hand paint on canvas, you know, you can do something that's really unusual, then there's a lot of value in that. The hard thing is that this industry is very saturated with sellers, because everybody's trying to support. Even if they don't want to make money, they want to be able to support their habit. And that's why we need to bring more people in, you guys. Just like I'm talking about agriculture, we need to bring more people in. More diverse community, more people. I don't care who comes, I don't care, you know, I'm not saying X percentage from, I'm not doing a percentage thing, I'm just saying we need people. We need more people. We need to encourage people. We need to make it a friendly environment. We need to not be dicks in these beginner groups, or these, like, you know, fiber, yarn artists and yarns and whatever it is, you know, but people they're just horrible. Like, someone says the wrong technique and they'll say it's a worsted when they've used, you know, commercial top, and then someone will jump on them and go, that's not a true worsted. It's like, if you have that kind of environment, nobody is going to want to come and be in your business industry. If you ask a question and someone is really mean, I mean, that's just, and I have to be honest with you, that's what happens. You get people with a little bit of knowledge, and they're just so mean. And, like, even, like, and a lot of people don't know who I am, and I'm sure if I posted something about dyeing, and a lot of the shit that I know about dyeing is not common knowledge. Like, I wouldn't charge as much as I do if it was common knowledge. Like, if it's common knowledge, you just give it away, right? I mean, that's silly, right? So, you know, but let's say I said something that I absolutely know to be true from peer-reviewed papers and from my extensive experience, and plus I've taught it to hundreds of people, and I've never had anyone come to me and say, Natalie, you're full of shit. And I've never heard somebody say that. I've never heard, oh yeah, Natalie, someone said you were full of shit, right? They may have said that about how I feel about sheep, but about anybody that actually has taken my class, they may have said that if they hadn't taken my class. But anyhow, so, but if I posted something that I absolutely, we all knew to be true, they probably would just eviscerate me. I mean, there are so many things that I could say that would just make them lose their mind, because people don't like, especially people that are started in something, they don't like to not know something. You know, it's that little bit of knowledge is dangerous. But if we have, you know, those kind of attitudes, you know, people have those kind of attitudes, and people can be so mean online, you know, our industry is just going to be stagnant, and everybody's going to be, you know, after, and it gets, you know, when there's not enough business, there is enough business, by the way. But if people start getting at each other's throat over, you know, customers, and they're not nice, and it's like people are ripping other people off, and, you know, they're doing all these underhanded things, like nobody wants to be, who wants to do that? This is supposed to be like our stress reliever, right? This is our stress reliever. So who wants to come into a place where you're made fun of, or you're made to feel stupid, or, you know, it gets on my nerves. I get mad, because we need to bring more people in. We always need to invite people in, and we need to teach them. We need to help them. Like, that's why I give away my, you know, like this kind of information and stuff. I totally have no problem giving away any of that. What I will never give away really is writing method. And you're like, but you did, because you gave away a class. Yeah, I did. I did give away a class, but I gave it to somebody. They had to earn it, right? But and I've never done that, because it's like $395. But, you know, I feel like this kind of stuff, you know, it's like, you know, the magic thumb, or teaching lock spinning, those kind of things are things that everybody knows, you know, that's in the ethers for free. Like, and if I can show it to you in a way that it is easy for you, or in some way gives you enjoyment, then I'm absolutely happy to do it, right? You know, and those are classes I would never charge for anyway. You know, so you guys can always ask questions. I'll answer them for you. I really will. If it doesn't have to do with the Reading method, I mean, if you ask me simple questions about dyeing, I'll tell you them. But the answer, but you know, would be the only caveat. The other stuff, I'm happy to tell people because I want them to feel good and I want them to want to be in this industry. It's good for, let me just tell you, success is good for everybody. And everybody should have that attitude. And actually, you know, oddly enough, Sherry Tenney and I are friends, and we do the same thing. You know, and Sherry Tenney's kind of she's a throwdown bitch. I'm telling you right now. Like you know, and I'm a throwdown bitch too. But the one thing I've made a commitment to is I would never get in a fight with her. Just no, I just won't do it. Like you can make a decision. You know, because to not engage in warfare publicly when you're in the same business, because you know, yes, we sell products that are similar, you know, and we may have a lot of crossover, but, you know, it's up to me to, and you just, you know, people like you for different reasons. And, you know, and I talk to her actually all the time, and like, she doesn't feel guarded with me about what she pays for things or who she gets them from ever, you know, because I would never, that's just not something I would do. I would not take her, you know, and like a couple of weird things have happened where I was just so happened to be getting what she wanted, what she needed, and I had it, and I actually said, well, I'll hook you up, you know, I'll hook you, you know. So you know, and I feel like she'd totally do that for me. And that's really the way it should be. Like, you should be, and we're pretty much, as far as I know, you know, the only ones that are in the United States that really broker as much wool as we both do. And, but it's just a conscious decision to not have that. I don't want that in my working life. I don't want to, it's not a net zero sum game where if she wins, I lose. That's just not the way I'm going to look at the world. I choose not to. And so especially like people that are selling top, I mean, there's so many people that sell cone top, and there's so many people that sell yarns, and there's so many people, we can just go on all day long, right? And the reality, or bats or whatever, but the reality is you just have to bring something unique to the table. And if it's not, you know, unique in the product, you better have a unique business model and treat them really, really good. And do things for them, teach them things. Like, that's the other thing. Like, you don't have to like give things away. You can just give knowledge away, right? You know, there's things that you can do. Share with them, you know, how you know, even, this sounds, I mean, there's some things that are proprietary that you wouldn't share with them. But if they're you might end up doing it for themselves. But let me tell you, if they wanted to know bad enough, they're going to figure it out. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And how much nicer to come from you because you appreciate them as a customer. Like, that's the way I look at it. You're like, are so fucking boring. I won't drink next time. I can't guarantee that. If my husband's naked and I'm available, I'm going to have a couple beers and hang out with him. Right before I do this. And then Shannon says it was sheer madness that made me want sheep. It was sheer madness that made me not want sheep. I'm just kidding. It's not true. Then Amber says she's inspired, and then just said, yeah, someone said it looked like it was slaughtered, and then I kind of agreed with it, but in reality it didn't look like that. And then Diana says, I think you have to build your reputation. Yes, you do. And then, let's see, I'm trying to look. I know, and Allison saying the amazing kinds of things people like, the ugliest things sell first. Sometimes that's true, huh? But anyway, so Amber, so the thing is that, you know, the hard part is that a lot of the things we want to do, like if we want to get things wholesale, right, you have to buy so much. So like there's this expenditure where you're going to have to invest, right? And it's just the reality. There's no way around that. There's really no way around that. It's an investment. I mean, I don't like having, you know, $50,000 worth of fleece around my studio. But I have to, because, you know, I have to also be able to have enough things that'll have some different things all the time. Can't have the same 80 products all the time, right? Because it's like Yawnville. So, you know, and that's a hard thing too, because you already have a lot, and now you have to have more because you want to, you know, diversify. But I think the best thing people can do is be a really good individual and be a good example. That sounds like such a corny thing to say. And then, and not that I won't get in a fight with someone, believe me. If they really, I will. But, and like, do YouTube videos. I think it's really smart to do YouTube videos. And that's one way. And just like you have to get yourself noticed. That's the most important thing. And you know who used to be really awesome about sharing that was Arlene Thayer, who was part of Spin Artiste. She, you know, would have people, she had that magazine, and every week she'd have somebody new. You know, she'd feature somebody new, and it would be maybe someone that would, you know, most of the time it was people that nobody really knew. And, you know, they knew each other, like, you knew them from groups and things, but you didn't really know exactly what they did. But, you know, but that really helped some people. And then I tell people all the time, like in Ready Method, you guys post your stuff, like, in there. And then there's Wool Wednesday, which that's why, Samantha's helping because we had Teach It Tuesday where we have a bunch of old videos that, the teachers from Reading Method made on how to, whatever it was that someone wanted to know how to do, they would make a video for it. And so then some obscure videos on, how to do things. And so then there's Wool Wednesday and Marketplace Monday. And then there's, I think it's Fiber Notions Friday. And so then that was one reason because, it's not that big of a group. There's like only a couple thousand people on it. But still, it's enough to have people see your stuff. And like, I used to have people say, like, on Wool Wednesday, is it okay if I post teas water or not? Because you sell teas water. And I'm like, yes, of course it is. Like, there's no, like, just, yes. If you have amazing teas water, then they should be able to have it. Like, and if you're going to sell it that cheap, I'm going to buy it from you and I'm going to resell it. Like, that's the reality of it. If it's going to be that good. I mean, there's some, I buy from a lot of U.S. Sellers, to be honest with you. But usually I buy everything they have. I mean, they might have some old customers that they've kept dealing business with, but, like, I buy, like, hundreds and hundreds of pounds, many hundreds of pounds. And, like, I get boxes, like, I'll be getting boxes for a couple of months, because I want everything they have because it's coated and amazing, and they didn't charge me a lot for it because I have to be able to keystone it, so I have to be able to double it. And I think it's add one, right? So, if I can't double it, then I don't really want it. Unless it's something like, if it's really expensive, then you have to be a little more forgiving with it. But for the most part, that's the way it goes. If you can't double it, there's no point. Because you have to pay shipping and the whole 9 yards getting it here, and it's not worth it. I hope that was helpful. You're like, not really. It was really boring, but I had to listen because you wouldn't shut up. Yes, that is true. Angor's Lovey, is it hard to spin? And Amber's saying not at all. You need to spin it tight because the staple is short. Yeah, or you can blend it. I would blend it only because even though the staple is short, I don't like it because it doesn't have any elasticity. I'm just not a big person. I don't like something to not have elasticity because it's just dead. It's just like there's drape. Okay, I give it the alpaca drape, but I still like it to have memory. I don't like it to. I just want it to have a little bit of memory. So wool can go like in almost everything. And if it's fine, you have to put in something. You can't make something. You can only make something coarser. You can't make something finer. So let's say I have Wednesday dough and I want to make it finer. If I throw merino in there, that's not going to make it finer. It's just going to make the merino coarser. So, like, the idea, you have to, like, pick like. So if I have alpaca, I'd pick a fine merino. If I had, rabbit, I'd pick a fine merino. That's, what I would do. And, even, to be honest with you, mohair is, could definitely use a little bit of, like, a lot of time I use I'll use mohair on the outside, and I'll use a core of merino, a lace core, really tiny core, and I'll be putting mohair on it in core spinning with merino so that it has some elasticity. Why do you think Kid Silk Haze is got nylon in it? And silk. That would be a really, because someone was actually saying on some thread I read today, they were saying that it was one of the people for this thing, and they were like, she loves to use silk as a core, and I hate to use silk as a core because because silk doesn't have any grip. So I don't want my fiber sliding, I don't like it as a core. I like to have something sticky. Like I like to have mohair as a core, or I actually will use mercerized cotton, but it's dead. Cotton's dead, right? But I want something to grip onto. I didn't know that was the greatest advice, in my opinion, but that's my opinion, and I'm not always right. I have spun mohair with Angora rabbit, but I'll tell you why it's not a bad blend, but they both have a halo. So they both have this halo, and one's very lustrous, the mohair, and one's not very lustrous. So they're you'd have just a very halo-y yarn, which there's nothing wrong with that. You still wouldn't have any elasticity though, because mohair has no elasticity. So mohair the only thing that has elasticity that's a natural fiber is truthfully wool. So, and it's based on the crimp. And I've seen a lot of alpaca that has really high crimp, but it's still not elastic. It's still drapey. And now when I don't know what to do with it, clearly I should have blended. No, why not? I use single mohair. I see. You know what? My friend. I use mohair in a single all the time. It doesn't have any memory. I mean, you can still use it. Like I have a scarf I'm looking at right now with mohair. It has mohair, a single in the fringe. Hang on, let me see. It's really dingy looking because it's really dingy because it's been out here for years. Hang on, let me grab it. And try not to kill myself at the same time, which at this point is not going to be easy. I'm not kidding you because my feet are wrapping up in the bags, you guys. It's not, I mean, it's like a, what is it called? A gauntlet. It's a gauntlet. So this fringe, this is just straight mohair. And this is mohair with a cotton core. But just all lock spun. But it's really fast. That's why I spin with a core. But I mean, it looks, you know, it doesn't have, you know, it's not dead because it's got the, you know, it's knit. But, you know, a cotton core wasn't the best. But the reason why it's better to do, if you do a cotton core, you have to do the same color as your mohair. Because you can't dye them afterwards because cotton doesn't use the same dyes. So that's why I like mohair, because I like to dye even, this is scientific papers, by the way, in the yarn industry. If you want even, really even yarn, then you have to dye it afterwards. You yarn dye. You don't dye the fiber beforehand. So, like, that's just the reality. If you dye your fiber before, the yarns won't be as bright, according to the peer-reviewed papers. And then you missed the Angora. Okay, 10 or so years ago, yeah, people loved it. Let's see. I'm reading right now. Okay, the halo is buried. Okay, don't use it as a core. No, and I would only use a core that I didn't spin. Well, unless it's for this thing, you have to, you have to spin it. But I wouldn't do that. And I back comb sometimes, so like I'll add it on. I'll be adding it on, and then as I'm adding it on, I'll take like a toothbrush and I comb at the back of it, so that so you know, you're putting it on like this, and then I'll brush it back, so that it like brings up the halo. Yeah, because you want the halo, especially, you know, with Angora rabbit or mohair. Okay, you guys, we're gonna do a drawing. Okay, so Samantha Vincent, it wasn't, I thought it was shopper gifted, but now I can't remember, and that's really complicated. So I don't think I can do that right now because I had beers earlier. Okay, so I'm going to do one $30 gift certificate, and it's going to be, I can't remember what the reason was, but I'm just going to do it, that was Scrappy's what? Of course, I want to say something vulgar. Do you know that I collected, I had, speaking of vulgar, I had Lad's semen collected because I had to put Lacey down. So I had Lad's, so you had your girl dog put down, so you got your dog's semen. Like, that doesn't make any sense. No, I have Nesta. But Lad's 13 and a half, and he's got, he had a stroke. And so he was like all wobbly and he couldn't walk, and I was like, oh my God, I need to get a semen because my other dog's dead and I loved her so much, and, you know, I want his semen. I just want his semen. And so I took him to this vet that's the reproductive vet. And the worst part is I'm talking to her and I said, you know, do you know if, because there are certain breeds of, and there are just certain lines of animals, like, you know, even within a breed that we call it prepotency, where the sire really throws his traits onto his progeny, right? So it's called prepotency. It has nothing to do with fertility. It has everything to do with how strong his genes are, right? So, and that's why they do, like, when they do bull tests and stuff, they do, like, you know, they do testicular size in bulls because it has to do, and their size, the bigger the bull testicles, the earlier their female progeny will mature. There's things that we know. So I didn't know. I was like, you know, are typically, do dogs, you know, are they prepotent as sires? Or are they like goats where, you know, you breed a great Angora goat to a great Angora goat and you get shit, like 95% of the time. I mean, it's just like, there's kind of like, it's just, you know, it's hard to figure out, right? You could only, you know, out of a lifetime, you could maybe only get, you know, one that's kind of good out of the best goat you've ever seen. So, so I said this to her, and she just got done bragging about how she's a reproductive vet. She's probably like 26 or 8 or something. Anyway, a tall blonde, like 6'2", like blonde, really pretty, you know, Southern California, like looking girl. And then she's like, well, you know, his fertility isn't very, and she starts going on about his fertility. I wanted to say, bitch, like, I'm paying you like $500 to do this. If you don't know what prepotency means. So then I like looked at her and I told you I can't help myself. I have to correct somebody. So I go, actually, I'm talking about prepotency, his ability to pass on his genetic profile to his progeny, whether or not he does that effectively and he is able to reproduce himself. You know, the word prepotent, he probably learned it in school. Didn't say fertility. Then, of course, I'm like, okay, this bitch doesn't know what she's doing. But then she grabs my dog's penis, and then, like, he just ejaculates, and I'm like, nope, she's good. Like, I wanted to videotape it, but I was so shocked, because I thought she was going to use, like, an artificial vagina or something. I didn't know. Because that's not how we do electroejaculators for beef cattle, right, or cattle, we, you know. And so, like, I just expected something like that. I didn't expect her to start jacking my dog off. So I was speechless. And I didn't get it. But anyway, so as far as his semen is concerned, I know you want to know. Quite I just want to know. He only has half as good as semen, so I had to have it collected twice, which I'm sure he was really bummed out about. He was fine. He actually sleeps on his bed with a picture of her next to his pillow. She was pretty cute. I don't think he really cared, but he did like what she did. He's like, thank you. That hasn't been done in like the last however many years I've had him. Okay, so I was just reading an article on dog breeding that said it was the bitch line that contributed the most to the litter. See? That's all she would have had to tell me. Not about his fertility. Thank you. So see, that was a legitimate question. I had a legitimate question that deserved a legitimate answer instead of her like faking knowing what I was. You guys, the word prepotent is like such a common term in animal science. It's not like something that I, you know, pulled out of the ethers and that was, you know, used in like 1914. It's like an actual current term. And then I have a female. I have Nesta. Okay, shop. She goes back to shopper gifted. Okay, this is what we have to do then. This is going to be such a pain in the ass for you guys. I'm going to have to do it I'll do it on Namaste Farm, so you don't have to join the group if you don't want to, but you should really join the group. You have to do this thing where this is the way it goes. There are people that have shops that they want other people to shop at. I think we should actually do it on Reading Method. Why? Because there's 2,000 people there. But I have 10,000 on my page. Never mind. We're going to do it. We're going to do it on facebook.com/teaswatersheep. Don't do it on Namaste Farms. Do it on, but it's going to say Namaste Farms, but it's the URL is facebook.com/teaswatersheep. If you're a shop and you want the opportunity for somebody to spend $30 at your place, then you put the word shop and your shop name down. That is your participation in this. Then there are people that are having really shitty times and they're lonely, sad, you know, or just need a pick-me-up. They want to be the gifted. So somebody that just, it doesn't have to be any real reason. I mean, you could, you know, just you want to pick me up. That means you would be the person, if you were chosen, that would get the gift. Then there is the shopper. The shopper is the one who gets to pick the shop to where this $30 goes. So everybody can participate in one role or the other, because some people don't want to be gifted something and some people don't have a shop. They just want to be part of it. So once again, so then you would write the name shopper and then you would put your name next to shopper. If you want to be gifted, then you put gifted and then you put your name. So then what happens is we will pick the gifted and then the shopper and then the shop. Wait a second, let me think about this. There's something wrong there because it's been a while since I've done this. Do I pick the I pick the gifted and then the shopper picks the shop. And the gifted gets to spend the money at the shop that the shopper picks. The only thing I pick is the person who's gifted, which will be by a random number, by the way. There's no favoritism. Once again, there's a shopper, and a gifted. The shop. So what it has for everybody is everybody that's there, is people are going to see your shop. They're going to know you have a shop, and they're going to go, oh, I wonder what this person has. The other thing is that you have the opportunity for the shopper to pick your store. The gifted is going, whoever's picked as the gifted is going to get a $30 gift certificate. The shopper is going to pick the shop, and I am going to send the $30 to that shop. And the person is going to have $30 credit with you. Does that make sense? You're like, no. It's actually really fun. It actually is. It sounded really stupid. Please, I'm going to hide my head in shame. Okay, what? Okay, do you get that? The dog, okay, I'm glad that you like the dog ejaculation story. Okay, so the shop, so you put the shop, you put the shop and the shopper. I'm writing it down. And the gifted. And so I'll write all the rules there, and the shop is going to if you have an online shop. And then the shopper's going to pick the shop where, and the gifted doesn't tell you where you're going to pick. You get to pick whose shop. You actually get to pick what shop they're going to have to shop at. Like literally, you have to really like go and look at the shops and be like, okay, this is where I want this person to shop. I mean, you don't have to go to all of them, but it would be nice. But you can just like, or you can just be like, oh, I know this person's really good, or, you know, this seems like a great place. Okay, and then where the gifted must shop from. And the gifted gets a $30 gift certificate. I pick the gifted, and when the shopper tells us, I must pick the shopper too then. I pick the shopper. I pick the shopper and the gifted. You guys are like, she's so dumb. I'm really stupid tonight. I did have a sandwich before I came in here, though. I should feel fine. Okay, and when the shopper tells us what store the gifted shopping at, I send $30. So nice. So I pick the shopper and which I do it means that either Kristen, Trisha, or no, I'll do it. Wait, oh, it says I'm over the amount of words. I'm so dumb. Hang on. It says I can only have 200 words. They've limited my words, you guys. You're like, we would like to do that too. We'd like to limit your words, but we can't. Okay. Okay. I'm going to put the rules on there. And you guys do it because someone is going to win. I'm telling you. So I'm going to put the URL right here, though. So you, Facebook. I'm going to go and do it right in a minute. .com/teaswatersheep. That's where you go. And when am I going to pick it? Well, what, you guys, I mean, I don't know how many of you are in here that'll do it. I'm thinking right now, because I'm thinking if I should just pick someone. Samantha's like, stay on task, Natalie, stay on task. Oh, wait, I just buffered for 1 second. That pisses me off when it does that. Let's see. Does that sound like too much work? Okay, just say if you want a $30 gift certificate, and then say if you want the shop. That's what you do right now. You guys, after all that, say if you... Trying for the gift search. Say if you want to be a shopper. And say if you want to be a shop. Bam. Yes, you can. So you can do it right here. Because then you guys are never going to go over and do it. So I just completely wasted your time again. I'm going to get back in the swing of things, I promise. I'll try and get more entertaining. I'll get drunk while I'm doing it, not before. Okay, I'm game. Okay, so Darlene wants to be gifted. Okay, yep. So you're going to say it right here. And you know what? If no one says, then it's going to be a very easy process. I have scratch paper right here. Gifted. Darlene. Okay, I'm writing it down. Okay. So Shannon, you're going to be a shopper. She's going to be the shopper. Shannon. Okay, I'm glad we have a shopper. Okay, Valerie, gifted. Val, Carolyn. We need stores. We need stores. Somebody give me a store. You can be both if you have to, but please be something. Okay, can we please? Okay. I need stores. Okay, well then I'm just gonna give you guys, if we don't have stores, then the shopper's gonna pick just somebody's store somewhere. Allison's like, it would be cool. Okay, Allison, wait, I got it. I'm writing down right now. Hillard, Valerie, Darlene, Hillard, Carolyn, Sutton Kelly, Allison. I'm getting it all. Andrea, Rebecca. Okay. Okay. Now, okay. Let's see. Okay, let me look. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, Deanna, you have to put your shop's name. They're going to try and block it out. Don't put .com. Just put the name of your shop and where it's located. Because they'll block it. Even though, no, just go and try and put it. Deanna and Samantha. And Sony. Jacinta Gifted, yes. Okay, Gifted. Okay, 1. Yeah, I'm gonna do random numbers. Okay. Hang on. Let me do this. Blue healers aren't good with sheep. They're too rough. They're aggressive. They're too heal. They heal. You need headers for sheep. They're great cattle dogs, though. Okay, put their name. Now, okay, so you're going to have to figure out, because it looks like the only one that's going to be a shopper is Shannon. So it's so nice that you're going to be the shopper, Shannon. So then there's, look at the people that have, why not a scrap box? I'll do a scrap box next weekend. So you have to know that there's Samantha J's Fiber Farm. And then Katie Light's Poppy Creek Farm. I love Katie Light's Poppy Creek Farm too. And there's Knitting Low. No, I don't know how to spell this. There's Sony has Knitting Lagniappe. I'm sorry. I'm so American and all I can speak is English and I will butcher it. Oh my God, can you just put it out phonetically and I'll do it. Stack of Rock Ranch. I almost said Stack of Cock Ranch and I'm like, wow, that's a great name. Stack of Rock Ranch. So Shannon's gonna have to go through all of these. And super loving, gifted, super loving. Okay, wait. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna count one more time. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I counted 14. 14. Circle Cliff Ranch alpacas. 14. I've got 14. Okay, it's French. It's Cajun. Lagniappe. So it's, okay, here we go. Lagniappe. Okay, Lagniappe. So it's Knitting Lagniappe. Lagniappe. That's what she said. I would have never got that from I'm just going to tell you right now, that I could never figure that out. I would have butchered it. I would have made it like some Italian something or other. It says 1 to 15 max. Generate. Okay, it's 13. Just letting you know, 13. So let me work backwards. Well, I'm going to work forwards. Because I put an extra one in. Okay. Jacinta. I'm pretty sure. Let me go out. I think it's you, but let me just recount. Let me go backwards. Because this is the way I counted it. Is Moonrose Jazz would be 13. So if I went from the very top, I would have started it. Kate would be 1, Valerie 2, Carolyn 3, Sony 4, Moonrose 5, Sutton Kelly 6. It might not be you because you did it twice. Moonrose, wait. Sutton Kelly 6, Rebecca 7, Andrea 8, Marnie 9, Cinda 10, Allison Blair 11, Liz Rose 12. Okay, that would put it at, it actually wouldn't be because you did it, because you put your name in and I counted you as gifted on that. So it would be D Mulkey. So I don't know who that is. So I don't have your name or address, which is fine. That's okay. They need it. So now what will happen is Shannon is going to pick the store that you will shop at. And if you don't want the gift, then it would just go back one. Or I could redo it. It's up to you. So let me write it. D. No, I put S because I'm so dumb. Okay. You. But I'm going to give Jacinta something because I said her name. I am going to give you something. I'll give you a scrap box. I will. But I don't know. Do you even or you can have comb top. So Jacinta can have comb top or a scrap box, and then D Mulkey will get the $30 gift certificate. And all D Mulkey has to do is say Darlene. Okay, so Darlene. How come I think I'm saying everything wrong? So you tell, so now what's going to happen is Shannon's going to tell you where you're going to shop, and then I'm going to send them the money, and then you just shop, and then they'll send you your gift. And then Jacinta, I'm going to send you something. But you have to tell me what. The alpaca store I couldn't say. So, Lanyap. So it would be Lanyap. Wait, let me go back to this. It would be, it's Sony's, and it is, hang on. That's Cajun, man. Okay, it's Knitting Lanyap on Etsy. So that's where you're going to shop. I'm going to send, Sony, do I have your email? Because I have to have your email. Let me look. Because I'm going to have to send it to you via PayPal. And you can tell me now. And then Jacinta has to tell me if she wants a, if she would like, I have, you know what, I have one of the, I hit my lip, and so I have a sore in my mouth. It hurts so bad. You guys are like, once again, too much information, like we really don't care. Okay, Sony Hartley. Let's see. Yes, I have Sony's email. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to send you $30. And that's going to be that, you guys. And so I'm going to see you next week. It's going to be Tuesday, unless I think it is Tuesday for sure. For sure, I think. Do you like that? And next week we're going to do 10 minutes to teach. I will forget that for a while, and then I will finally have it down to where I won't stutter when I say it. And then if you guys are something you want to learn, then you have to tell me. And then I'll be much more entertaining next week. I got to get in the swing of things. It's like getting your, like warming up your hands right before being naked with your husband. No. Okay, warm it before you spin yarn or touch your male dog that you want semen from. I still can't believe she did that. Like, I can believe it because apparently that's how you do it, but I couldn't believe it because I was sure there was some, I just did not expect some hot blonde to be jacking off my dog. I really, truthfully didn't. I really, truthfully did not. And the second time they did it, I would have actually videotaped it, but I wasn't the one that took him. Anyway, okay, I love you guys. I'm going to see you and next week. Be good. And you better show up. Damn it. Okay, you guys, I'm going to miss you. I feel like I don't want to go. You know when you don't want to say goodbye? That's how I feel right now. But I know that I can have another beer when I do, so that only makes me happier. Okay, so, bye, you guys. Love you guys. See you next week.